Okay, there's another lecture on the first lecture about what this contacts means, what everything means. So we've done, down to the bottom, we've talked about work status and filing and the basic information. So the main thing we need to talk about now is lead source, which is where they came from. Now, how they found out about us. So if they went to our website and signed up from there, it should already say BLA sign up page, so you don't change anything. If they came from the social media website or through an interview with New Era with me, or from a email from New Era asking us to help them, it's really self-explanatory. You just ask them how they heard about us, and you put that in there. Right, now the payment side is quite important. So depending what you agree with them, if they're paying, whether they're paying in advance everything, or whether they're paying so much per month, you put the total amount that they've agreed to pay in there. Payment status, you would then change to whatever it is. Now at the beginning, it's going to be either nothing signed or agreed, no payments made. You must fill this in every time, like everything on this form. Contract signed and or work commenced, payments promised but not made yet. So we've signed a contract, we've started doing work for it, and they've said yes, we're going to pay, but there's no payment being made yet. Or if we've made an arrangement that they're not going to pay. Sometimes we try not to, but sometimes people say, look, we really need help just now and we don't have any, but we'll pay at the end of next month or something, and it will be this amount, and we say okay, and they sign a contract, but they're not expected to pay for now. Or they've made their first payment and there's more due, and it's got to be checked monthly. On payment plan and paying, on payment plan but in arrears, fully paid up on this matter, so they've paid everything, or payments not due at the moment until something else happens, or not sure. And that means whenever we run a report, we can look at all the not sure. So that must be filled in. Promise payment dates. You always say, when will you be able to make this payment? And they'll tell you, and you put in the date. So that if they miss it, we can phone them. We don't phone them right away, maybe 2 days later or something like that, and say that you were supposed to pay on this date, what's going to happen. Now, this should actually be further down. I think I'll move it. But agreed payment start date is actually the same as this, although this can change because after you talk to them again and then they make a new promised pay date. But initially, the agreed payment start date will be a certain date. No, it's not. Oh, it's because this one's still open. And then agreed payment end date. So they could both be the same. They say we're going to pay upfront the same amount on this date, and then you just put that in. Or it could be it starts here and it ends there. And so, yeah. Total paid to date, every time they make a payment, you increase this. So if they pay 10,000, it's 10,000, then they pay another 8,000, so now it's 18,000 in here. Payment arrangement notes, anything you need to say. So if you phone them up and they say, oh, right, we'll pay a week on Tuesday, right here, client says they'll pay a week on Tuesday. Once that becomes out of date, you can paste it down here in the notes. And you can put it in here and you can say previous communication. Now obsolete. Or you can just delete it. But it's best to keep it somehow. And then you can paste whatever was in the payment thing, payment arrangement notes, and make that so that's always current. Invoice done, just yes or no. If it's not done, then one probably needs done if they've made any payments, or if they're going to make payments. Chase for payment, that's quite obvious if they need to be chased. That gets ticked. Now fee agreement, this is whether they've signed a fee agreement or not. So not discussed, no agreement. Contract discussed, but it's not been signed yet. Or the fee agreement signed and attached, right? So that's when they send it by email. Or contingency fee agreement signed and attached. There's two different types of agreement. Fee agreement, contingency fee is when we're taking a percentage as well, 25% or it can't add up in total to more than 25%. Or a fee agreement where they're just paying an amount of fees and there's no percentage. Physical agreement in files. So they've signed a physical one and it's in the file. So you don't need to scan it every time necessarily, as long as we know that there's one in the file. But remember to fill in the payment information here so that we don't need to go and get it from the file to see what the payment agreement was. Or no agreement needed. Sometimes the client's already paid everything, so we're like, well, we don't really need an agreement, we're not going to be sticky about that. And then status, very important to fill in. What have we discovered from their interview with the client? Right? There's no scope. The client doesn't have a problem, or they've got a problem we can't do anything about. That's no scope. Or scope but no funds. So the client's got a genuine problem, but they really don't have any money. So you mark it. Now sometimes we can do something about that. We always try and make a plan, but sometimes it's just impossible. Clients get absolutely no money. We don't have any spare time, and so we put it scope but no funds, particularly if it's a really complicated matter. Or we're waiting for the client to decide to go ahead. So we met them, we talked to them, and then they didn't sign up at the time, so we're waiting for them, or we're waiting for them to pay. So they've said, yeah, we're going ahead. They might have signed something, but we're waiting for them to pay. Or it's allocated for somebody to do some work on, or you're waiting for me, or recommended complete by drafter. So the drafter's done some work on it. He says it's complete. And then the manager, whoever that is, says, yeah, it's complete, it's fine, you can serve it, file it. So you go to the filing and serving. If these boxes down here are not ticked, you tick them then. Fully complete apart from payment, so everything's done, but there's been no payment, or if there's a payment missing, or fully complete paid, nothing further needed. Or there's scope, but the client's not interested, so they said, no, we don't want to go ahead. Or because in the other case, they've not said they don't want to go ahead, but they just haven't done anything. Here we know not to contact them because they're not interested. You do get clients like that. Waiting for client for information or signed documents, it's obvious, or too complex and time consuming. So we've got a case maybe that's just really complicated and the client doesn't have sufficient money to pay for us to spend all that time on it. We can help more clients in the same time elsewhere. Right, and then down here, a description, you can paste all the details. So take the whole story down here. This has got very little, it should. But when you meet the client, you should write a whole page or 2 pages sometimes of everything they tell you in this description box. So there's a full description of the case in there. And then anytime something happens that we haven't covered above, you add it as a note. So if you phone the client, this day, this happened, this is what they said, etc. Just anything else you put in notes there. Okay, and that's that.